Hello, everyone. Welcome to In the Neighborhood. I'm Dodai Stewart, Deputy Editor for Metro at the New York Times. I'm so excited to be here today with Beth Behrs and Tichina Arnold, stars of the CBS sitcom The Neighborhood. Before we begin, I just want to let the audience know that this conversation will be recorded and will be available to watch later. And we will also be taking questions. If you have a question for Beth or Tichina, please use the Q&A feature on Zoom, and we'll also answer some in a little bit. If you'd like to chat with your fellow attendees, the chat feature in Zoom is on. That's my spiel. Let's get started. Hello, ladies.
Hello. Hi.
Hi. I'm doing well. How are you doing?
We're doing, right, Beth? We're doing.
Yeah.
We are doing 2020. That's the theme.
Or is 2020 doing us?
Amen.
I don't know.
Amen. I don't know which one it is. I can't tell you. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I feel like we should start with the biggest thing that's happening right now, which is, you're not working because we're in a global pandemic. Your show got interrupted. Am I right? Do you want to just talk a little bit about what happened?
I mean, we were right in the middle of filming our last episode, wasn't it? It was Friday, and we were supposed to film Monday.
Oh.
Beth, didn't I train you as your Black friend? When I don't speak, that's when it's time for you to talk.
I'm sorry.
I love the slide down. The slide down was funny.
We honestly, though, that last day, remember on set, we were supposed to have a run through. And I just remember, like, all the schools had been closed already. We were one of the last shows to still be filming. And it was hard to laugh, like, to be funny. There was like this tone at the run through where everybody, honestly, it was just fear. You know, crew members' kids were home from school. We were still working. It was kind of scary. But like, we still thought we were going to report to work Monday. And then I think it was Saturday night that they were like, we're not going to film the finale, which we were really bummed because we had this arc and a really great finale for you guys.
But we were really blessed to have gone through most of our season. We were just literally at our last episode. And it kind of felt like after 9/11 felt, I'm from New York, and I was actually traveling to Miami at the time by the time the second tower fell, I was landing in Miami. My mom called me. She's like, do you know what's going on?
Wow.
And I landed in Miami, and it was just the whole atmosphere was just odd. And I got in the taxi, and the taxi cab driver was playing, it was live, but I was getting the after effects of it. By the time I got to my hotel, so the aura was really strange. That's how the set of The Neighborhood felt. It was like, what do we do? What's happening when you don't have answers to just normal questions? Like, okay, are we going to work?
Yeah.
Like, are we going to go back to set? Do we go in our dressing rooms? Like, what do we do?
Yeah.
It felt a lot like that.
And now it's been months. And what has your quarantine been like? Have you been baking? Do you have new skills? I've heard something about banjo. I'm not saying who.
Ask the white girl. Ask the white girl.
Which is hilarious because I have been playing the banjo. I've always wanted to and never had the time to pick it up. It's my favorite instrument. I absolutely love it. But it's funny because, I'm not used to not being busy. It's been 10 years from Two Broke Girls right into The Neighborhood. And so when we first went down, I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to garden and I'm going to learn the banjo. And after a few months of that, I was like, okay, how can I now do something to help? Because it just felt like I felt stuck. And so I started this podcast that's about to come out called Harmonics, and dealing with the intersection of music and creativity. And the banjo was a big part of that. And fun fact, Tichina, I love reading about the history of the banjo. And I'm reading a book right now called America's African Instrument, which Allison Russell of Our Native Daughters told me on Harmonics to read. And I'm learning about its Haitian roots and how it was the way to communicate, and that African's American instrument is the banjo. And it was, its history is both heart-wrenching and fascinating. And
Cool.
I'm loving learning about it.
And this is the makings of a really good interracial girlfriend relationship, honestly, because I told Beth, I said, listen, as your Black friend, I will be doing you a disservice if I do not tell you the truth and if we don't communicate with each other. She was like, well, I just need to do things. I was like, well, by golly, do it. Do everything you need to do, because that's what it takes. We have to communicate with each other.
Yeah.
And that's why I love Beth Behrs so much, because we are able to literally sit down, look each other in the eye, and literally talk about the most intimate things and the most wonderful things and the things that irk us. So, Beth, thank you for being such a good friend. No, listen, she really, it means a lot. It means a lot.
Great to hear
I
you
paid
guys.
her a lot of money before this interview to say that. No, I feel like Tichina's like not, Tichina doesn't come around. She's a once in a lifetime friend, but also like for me, because she's also been such a hero to me in this business. She's also been who I look to as like an older sister who's been through everything, sometimes worse than what a woman can go through in this business, obviously, Tichina. But I just look to her as always telling the truth, but also like always coming from a really grounded, spiritual, like rooted place from heart and kindness and love. And I'm so grateful to her as a friend as well. And I do believe, you know, we joke about it and we laugh about it, but like there's really truly something special between us that I don't know we'll ever come around again. And we love doing comedy together.
Oh my God.
What?
Beth
Yeah.
she's fearless. She's fearless. But you know,
I want to ask about that, because on the show, you are neighbors who become friends, and it's a mostly Black neighborhood, and here's this white family. And I would say that, you know, your husbands have their issues, but you as friends get over things very quickly, and you're on the same page very often. And did you find that came to you naturally in real life as you started working together?
Yes. And you know why? Because we're women. Women operate on a different frequency. And it's not that we're better than men. It's not, we just,
well, no, I'm kidding.
I didn't say
it's relative. It's relative.
I'm just saying, New Zealand has their act together with COVID-19. Female president.
True.
That's all I gotta say. That's all I'm saying about that.
But when you operate on the same frequency, and Beth and I, since the inception of the show, when we were together on that set, from the time we met each other, it was like, oh, because it wasn't about our color. It wasn't about us even being women. It was about, we're about to bring this damn comedy. We're about to tear these roles up. So we met on common ground. And when you meet on common ground, it creates the basis for a wonderful relationship. No matter what color it is, no matter the ethnic background, it doesn't matter. When you start on the same level and you're looking eye to eye with somebody and you jumping off the cliff, as far as it is concerned with comedy and with your work, that is the basis of a wonderful relationship. So that's where Beth and I started out. Like, we just, from the gate, we're like ready to rock. We're ready to make this show and be a part of this show and be a microcosm of this show, for this show to last forever, because the neighborhood is just a really good show.
I do want to talk about being a woman in this extremely male-dominated business of show business, where there are just, I mean, it's getting better, but there's so many shows where they're all men in the writer's room, and at award shows where men are nominated for director and there are no women in the category, and so on and so forth. Just like very male-dominated. And you each have had, different paths to this place, and how have you navigated the male-dominated industry?
T, you gonna take this? You want me to take it? What do you think?
No, bitch. Look, no, bitch. You got this. And I mean that in the most endearing of terms.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what's interesting is Tichina's been in this business since she was a young woman. So I love to hear her talk about that perspective. But Two Broke Girls happened in my very early 20s, and Kat and I were the same age, Kat Dennings, who played the other character on Two Broke Girls, Max. And looking back now, 10 years later, you know, I got that at 24, I'm 34. There was definitely, I didn't know, most of all, I'd say I didn't know that I had a voice and I didn't know how to use it. And I think for me, being in my 30s and being around Tichina specifically, who's been around longer and has had so much experience, what I've learned is that not only do I have a voice, but you have to use it, because if you don't, that's when you get disrespected. And also that's when you're not fighting for the younger generations coming up at 24, getting their first broadcast television show, right, who may not have the same, who hopefully won't have, you know, feel like their voice is silenced in some way. And I think it had to do with age, but I think it also had to do with gender and sort of the boys club that is Hollywood, and that is starting to change, you're right, but I think we still have a lot of work to do.
Tichina, would you like to talk about some of your early experiences in the business? Or
oh my God, my early experiences were, I just wanted to work. I just wanted to work. I just wanted to do what naturally like came to me to do, and that was perform, make people laugh, to sing, to just literally be in front of people and they walk away different. That was my whole goal since the age of 3.
Wow.
Was when I first experienced it. Like, and I only tell this story because that's when it started for me. So I would never compare myself to Beth. I would never compare myself to anybody else's journey. I think it's important that we don't compare each other's journeys, but we learn from each other's journeys.
Yeah.
So I knew, even being with Beth, that I had a lot to give her as a woman. You know, not just as her counterpart on the show. I had a lot to share with her as a woman. She had a lot to share with me as a woman. So as I got older and being in show business, I just wanted people to feel different. God has blessed me with a talent, with a gift, and I always want to share that. And I think a lot of actors, once we realize that that's what it is, and that television and film and doing shows and plays and going on tour and singing and being in the studio, those are vehicles for your gift. They're just vehicles. So CBS is a wonderful vehicle. Did you like how I veered off into that?
It's great.
And the reason why I'm bringing up the network, because in the beginning of my career, I just never paid attention to networks and stuff like that. I just wanted to work. But as you get older and you realize, oh, wait a minute, I gotta pay my rent from this. Wait a minute. I gotta pay rent. Oh, whoa. But it becomes something different now. It becomes a responsibility. So how do we handle that responsibility? And I always pray to God, allow me to handle the responsibility of the impact that my gift will make, and the impact and the roads that my gift will open for me. And to meet Beth and for us to both be thinking the same way was you can't pay for it. It doesn't come quite often in a lifetime.
But when you were starting out and you had this kind of, I'll call it simple because you're saying, I just want to perform, I just want to share this gift, but I'm sure there were so many obstacles. I mean, if it's definitely not easy. And so what are some of the ways that you overcame those obstacles?
Well, let's get to it, Miss Stewart. Let's get to it.
Yes, I'd like to hear it.
There is a double standard in Hollywood, in America. There is a double standard when it comes to my career and Beth's career. Beth and I, we've had this conversation. Like, Beth is afforded certain things that I am still afforded, but how it's looked upon and how it's treated and how it's culminated and how it's cultivated completely different.
Mm-hmm.
So our roads are different, and it has not been easy. And there have been a lot of changes made, but we got a long way to go. We have a long way to go. No, we're not done. But I believe that Beth and I on the neighborhood, we represent change. We represent something that's not even new. It's always been here. You know, our relationship. There are a lot of Black women and white women out there that have the same relationship that Beth and I have. But guess what? It gets drowned out because it gets drowned out from the bull crap. Sorry to bring it down.
No.
But
I mean, I think it's interesting that you're on a sitcom about racial issues, and we're having a kind of reckoning going on in all kinds of forms, in entertainment business, in academia, a racial reckoning around the police, and it's pervasive. And I just think it's interesting that you're having the show that discusses these issues while in this environment. I mean, of course, you stopped filming earlier in the year, but have there been moments while you were filming that you felt really spoke to the atmosphere around you?
Yeah, I mean, something that just being on the show and even just this whole movement, sort of the responsibility, my privilege, what I've learned is that my privilege, I used to shy away from being uncomfortable. Like, I don't want to ruffle feathers, or this is uncomfortable. And I feel like after we've tackled some things on the show that then Tichina and I have talked about in person. Like, Tichina and I had an episode I loved where I forget what it was with the backpack, but I was trying to get the backpack, and the moral of the story was that the police officer followed her through the store, even though I was the one who was doing the stealing. And I just think that I'm trying to educate myself and also learn how to be an ally and be uncomfortable and step the fuck up, because it's something that I know has been my privilege to shy away from. And I feel like the conversations I've had with Tichina, particularly because I know she'll always be truthful with me, and she'll always be like, no, this is how it is. No, bitch. And I'm seeing like how I can be better, and how also, I mean, it makes me want to cry, but how as a
don't
country,
cry, Beth.
I know,
cry.
I'm sorry.
Don't cry. Look at me, Beth. Look at me.
Okay.
Look at me.
Okay.
We're good.
Okay.
We're good. We got
But
this.
as a country, I feel like we have to do better. We have to come together. We cannot be separate anymore. And I'm so grateful to this freaking show and to CBS and to my relationship with Tichina Arnold for helping me grow. And I think it's our responsibility now to help others. And I don't know what I just said. I feel like I went on an emotional tangent, and Tichina, please help.
You did not. No, you did not. Because you did exactly what me as a Black woman in America, I want to see in my counterparts. I want to see in other people that are not Black. I want to see that you understand, and that even the things that you don't understand, you try to understand, because you can't understand somebody really until you walk in their shoes. So, but you're not going to walk in it. Beth is not going to walk in my shoes. She's never walked in my shoes. I'm never going to walk in her shoes. So how can we understand each other? We have to hear each other out, because even as Beth is learning a lot of stuff about when it comes to just Black culture and Black women and the whole thing, I do the same. I have to learn about how she feels and how she processes things, so that I don't automatically accuse her of being, oh, see, this bitch don't understand. See, no. Everything is not.
She wants me to do goat yoga.
She tried to get me to do goat yoga. And I was just like, Beth,
I got you to do it.
You tricked me. You tricked me into doing goat yoga. We did it on Lily Singh, but I'm so happy that she outsmarted me, because she really tricked me into doing goat yoga. And guess what? I was cool with it. So we have to expand our minds. We have to expand ourselves enough to be able to motivate each other, enough to be able to motivate ourselves. But it's hard. We have, and I'm not going to name names, but we don't have leadership right now. I find that me being a 51-year-old Black survivor in show business, I don't consider myself as a celebrity, a star, none of that. I'm a survivor. I've been doing this. I've been paying my rent. I've been taking care of myself, feeding myself since I was literally 15 years old. This is what I know. This is what I love. So I have to be able to put it in a place where that I can never stop learning. I have to learn. Mm-hmm. And Beth has taught me a lot, just as much as I've taught her. We teach each other because we share information. And I think that's another disconnect between the Black culture and the white culture. We don't share information. We keep things to ourselves, and I find that white people do that because they're uncomfortable. They're uncomfortable with having that conversation with me. So we got to get to a place where
which is bullshit.
See, I'm a bad influence on her.
No, I love it. I love it. I mean, I guess I'm just wondering, because you have formed this amazing friendship, and hopefully the show will go on, but would you want to work together in the future? And what would be your dream project to work on? I know that you both have a background in singing. Maybe it would be a musical. I'm just putting this out there. Maybe it would have banjo. I don't know. But, but what do you think about that? What would you?
Go ahead, Beth.
I mean, well,
you talking her thing right now. You talking.
I have so many
business.
dreams for us. Actually, you know what would be my ideal dream for me and Tichina? Did you all ever see the Carol Burnett show?
Love
like a variety show.
A variety show where we could sing, we could do physical comedy and be sort of like do it all, or Velma and Roxy in Chicago live on CBS. Or I'd love to be Maria in The Sound of Music, and Tichina can be whoever she wants in that show. Lethal? I don't know. See how beautiful her voice is?
I would love that. That would be so amazing.
Well, we just lost 100 people after that. Participants have gone down.
Hey, listen, guess what? Who cares? Because if somebody doesn't want to watch it, they don't need to hear it. You can't talk to people when they don't want to hear it. If they don't want to hear it, that's their issue. That's not your problem. Let them go. Get out of here.
Tichina, what would be your dream role or dream project?
I got a lot of dream projects that I don't think about because I don't know if they'll actualize or not. So I'm not a dreamer. No, honestly. So when you ask me dream question, I'm not a dreamer. I'm not.
See, the truth. The truth.
Yeah, my mother ruined me. My mother, you know how I really got into show business? My mother said I was 12 years old, and my sister, she was younger than me, 3 years younger than me. And my mom was like, look, I'm not missing another day of work. I can't take off another day of work. Do you want to do this? Because if you want to do this, I'm going to show you how to take the train to the city and show you how to go on your auditions. I'm going to show you what trains come back to the house. And I was like, yeah, I want to do it. And guess what? My mother showed me one time how to take 3 trains and a bus. And literally that was 6 trains and 2 buses every day to go from Queens to Manhattan. And that's when I knew I really wanted it. So when you commit yourself to your gift and your learning that this is your occupation and this is your career, and you meet people like Beth that you don't normally meet. No, honestly, I didn't meet a lot of Beths. I didn't. My childhood, we still had the light skin, dark skin thing going on. So they were hiring fair-skinned Black women and not darker-skinned Black women. And that was during the 80s. where it was just very prevalent. It was like, oh yeah, we love her, she's great, but we're gonna go with her. So it's not only competition amongst, your peers and peers that are outside of your race. They have you in competition with peers within your race.
Right.
So I had a lot of obstacles to overcome, but not allow them to change who I am.
So well said. I'm amazed. I'm loving this conversation. We have some questions from the audience. Edward asks, will there ever be a Two Broke Girls reunion on The Neighborhood?
Oh, wow.
That'd be awesome. Tichina and I have both worked pretty closely with Garrett Morris. So we both love for him to be a part of The Neighborhood. We just have to find the right part for him. But yeah, I'd love anyone from Two Broke Girls to be on. That'd be awesome.
Chelsea asks, do you have any advice for how to ask privileged female coworkers to step up and advocate for others in professional spaces?
Now, you have to, sometimes it's okay to ask a question with a question. When they state privilege, what do they mean? Privileged just all around, or are they using the word privileged for white? I need to know, I need to differentiate the two, because I'll give you two separate answers.
Sure, let's say that it is white.
Answer the question. Ask the question again.
Advice.
But I want to make sure I have it right.
Advice on how to ask your white female coworker to step up and advocate for others in a professional space.
Very simple. You ask. You ask. I learned how to deal with my uncomfortability. Like when I'm uncomfortable, I learned how to express that I'm uncomfortable without losing my job, because you're going to rustle feathers, but you have to be in a place to be able to rustle feathers. I'm in a place where I've paid my dues. I know what I'm doing. I have a lot more to learn and experience, because you do that till the day you die. But I have a lot of experience meeting people and dealing with people and working with different types of people. You have to be in a place where you feel comfortable enough just to ask. You can talk to Beth the same way you would talk to me. So when you think that way, then you allow yourself, you open yourself up to being able to operate on the same playing field. I think a lot of our young people, and that's why I like talking to a lot of my young Black women, my young girls, my people that are like my daughter. I'm like, look, Elijah, you gotta be able to understand when you are uncomfortable, because when you're uncomfortable, depending upon how you deal with you being uncomfortable, that could either make you lose your job or make you gain friends, or it depends upon you. Everything runs back to you. How do you deal with this situation? I love the way Beth dealt with me. I'm a little, I shoot from the hip sometimes. And, I'm famous for, hey, can I talk to you for a minute? I don't let people hear I'm like, I don't play those games. But it comes from not wanting to fight in school. I had to ask myself, why do I do that? I had girls that, because I was in show business, they wanted to fight me. Girls that looked like me wanted to fight me because I was doing something that they didn't understand. And I knew what it was, but I had to figure out a way not to get involved with somebody else's hang-ups. How do I deal with these women that want to fight me? Guess what? I'm going to make them laugh, because that's what I do. Oh, I'm going to make them laugh. So every bully in school, I made them laugh. So that's how I kept out of fights. So I think if every young woman can find out what they have inside of themselves that they control and that they are in control of at all times, everything happens after that.
I love that. I think that's great. Also, making them laugh is about communicating with them and not just shutting down the conversation.
I was going to say, that's so interesting that Tichina said that, because that's how I navigated. I didn't have girls fighting me, but there were mean girl bullies.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was the same way for me. I was a goofball. So laughter was my way of communicating, not getting involved, but also not being made fun of, you know? And yeah, I love that you said that, because it made me realize that too, that's how I navigated as well. And what's your gift? What's your way of bringing community and bringing people together and trying to do better?
But look at the crazy side of that. Those are two negatives that you and I can share with each other that we can understand.
Yep.
Yeah. You know, we take a negative and turn it into a positive. Yeah.
Yeah.
A question from Jane. I love the show because your characters aren't secondary to the husbands. How important is it to you to play strong female characters?
So important. That's everything. I mean, I love that. I mean, with Tichina and I both, I feel like that Jim and the whole writers room has done a really good job of Gemma and Tina really being super intelligent, but also being fiery, speaking their mind. And I do think that's something that needs to be seen more on television, and I'm proud of that on our show.
Most definitely. I wouldn't even mind playing a weak woman. As long as that weak woman, that role, someone is able to learn from that role. So I don't mind playing anything. I don't mind playing, you know, somebody, just a jacked up character, but we have to understand that's a character. So what is this character conveying? What is this character? How, when the audience watches this character, what is this character going to do for whoever is watching it? And that's, I always think of the outcome. What is the outcome? What happens when people leave the theater? What happens when people walk away from the TV? What happens when people press pause and they come back to it? So I always try to think of what is the outcome and how will my decision playing this role impact somebody else's life, but more importantly,
taking
the rest
away?
of my life.
Yeah.
And there's power in vulnerability. I mean, like you're saying, like there's something to learn, and there is power. I wouldn't even call it weakness. I would call it vulnerability, because I feel like you're right. You don't have to play, you know, Gemma and Tina are pretty fiery, but there's also a truth and a vulnerability to both of them as well that I think comes from, you know, our process as actors and a collaboration with the writers and the cameramen and everybody who makes our show so special. But I do think that like the quote unquote powerful or strong woman character on television would be even stronger with more truth and vulnerability.
Melissa asks, how many women and people of color in the writers' room at the neighborhood? Do you think there's room for improvement? How can the show deal more with serious issues regarding race? That is a 3-part question.
Go ahead, Beth.
I think we actually have a pretty, I don't know what it looks like this year, but in the past we've had a pretty, not only diverse, but also pretty equal with men, women. I don't know the exact breakdown, but I do know that we are one of the most, I think, diverse, both gender and racial on television. Isn't that true, T? I think so.
No, we know so.
Yeah.
But we got a long way to go. So you're talking to 2 actors that we still have to be employed by CBS. So yeah, no, let's keep it real.
Yeah. Right, and you're not choosing the writers. I mean, that's not your job.
These are things that are completely out of our control. That's what we get paid to do, to literally live in a space that is out of your control. And what is in your control? And like I said, the things that are in your control are picking the choosing the roles that you go out to audition for. You know, choosing how you speak to the director, choosing how you deal with the ADs, choosing how you deal with everybody, you know, from A to B to A to Z. We have to make sure that we if we say that we're going to be responsible, we have to be responsible on all fronts. And where I would like more of our female power to be in play is behind the scenes. I would like to see more female directors. I would like to see more Black female directors. I would like to see more female producers. I would like to see more Black female producers. I would like to see more heads. Like I want to see more CEOs, because I think, I guess women, we outnumber men in America, don't we? Right? So we still outnumber.
Sure.
Yeah,
Why not?
Yeah.
We should.
I don't know. But it's important that we have we're able to operate. You just let us operate. Let us do this. Let us do this. We're living in a time right now that women are needed more now than ever. We need more Beths. We need more of me. We need more of you, Miss Stewart.
Yeah.
You are, no, honestly, because you are a platform. Yeah. So you had this and you took this and this is yours. So we're speaking to you. You've given us a platform so that we can actually share what we've gone through with other people. So thank you for having us, because this is what it takes. We need to see more of us. We need more women doing powerful things in positions of power and being paid to do it.
I wholeheartedly agree. You have my
Tichina 2020. By the way, Tichina 2020 was all over all the podiums one day that we came into work of the whole set, because we all are like, please, Tichina, just run for something. Come on, man. Tichina 2020, guys. Let's start that. Come on.
At least for like,
if I got
at least for like Senate.
Like, get her out of here. Take her out. Get her.
I love her. Like,
that's what
I did it the wrong way. I don't even know which way.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. But we have a great set of people. Ron Mosley is the one who thought of that. Ron Mosley is our stage manager. He's a wonderful, wonderful first AD. And it takes everybody. Beth and I cannot coexist the way we coexist if it weren't for the cast, rest of the cast, the rest of the crew, that person. There are people that are there hours before we have to show up, but things have to be ready so we can do our jobs. So everybody on the neighborhood works efficiently. Everybody wants to be there. Jim Reynolds makes sure that we have a platform on that stage. He makes sure that he asks us questions and he involves us. And Cedric, he and Cedric talk with each other. The men talk it out, but she'll tell you, I don't let white huddles go on. I don't allow white people huddles.
What does that mean? You break it up? You break it up?
Oh, she breaks it up. Yeah.
When white people huddle, things change. You need to be a part of that change. It just comes from me being a little kid, and I would just watch people, and every time white men got in a huddle, lines would change, days would change, you had to show up for work, scripts changed, stages, everything changes, and you want to be a part of that change. So my responsibility is to make sure that I'm on top of my shit. I have to make sure I'm on top of my shit, so I need to be a part of the white people huddles.
One more question from the audience. Denise asked, what's the best advice you've ever received? You have given so much advice to other people just today, and I would love to hear what's the best advice you've received.
Oh. Good, Beth. You got a lot of advice. Go ahead.
Something that's I've read Untamed, Glennon Doyle's book, multiple times. About to interview her next week for Harmonics, and I'm literally, it feels like I'm interviewing the Dalai Lama. That's how much I love her. But she says in her book, and repeats it multiple times, we can do hard things. And I think that especially during this time in our country and with the pandemic and everything, to know that we can do hard things, and also as women, to know that we can do hard things and to honor that. And to know that it's okay to feel your feelings. In fact, you have to feel it to heal it. And that would be probably, her book would be the best advice for women and men that I've ever read. Yeah.
Nice. I got to get that book. You did tell me about that book.
I'll give it to you. I'm going to send it to you. I'll give it to you. Yeah.
Please do. My advice is, it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice.
Oh,
and That's saying, look, you wanted to take that answer? Just like Beth was like, I wanted that
So
answer.
good. That's such a good answer. And so true.
But you know what? It's my motto. And I found that motto, actually, one of my friends told me this, a guy that I looked up to. He's like a dad to me. And he just always told me the truth. So I put him in a special place in my heart. And when he passed, that's the one thing that I always said that I would repeat. What he told me is like, Tichina, it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. And I think a man, a white guy said that. I can't remember his name. Please forgive me. But from like back in the 40s or something. And it always stuck out to me because I said, me being nice and me being cordial and me being able to understand and have dialogue with other people has gotten me jobs that I not necessarily have been right for the job, or, you know, somebody else was better than me, but because how I handled myself and how I handled myself in the audition and how I talked to the producers and how I talked to the director and how, you know, I engage, that lives far longer than you just focusing on the job. The job is more than the job. The job is everything that surrounds the job. The job is making sure that you can literally communicate with assholes. The job is making sure that you don't have to feel pressured if somebody's giving you a little pressure to have sex for a job. There are a lot of things that we as women have to deal with in this industry. And I always want to make sure that I share my faults, I share my triumphs, I share my, even when I'm going through it. Me and Beth, we're like, what the hell? Right now, me and Beth, we're tripping out. You know, we're tripping out, but we're tripping out with each other.
Yeah.
We're able to communicate with each other. It's like, girl, like, what is COVID doing to you? How is it affecting you? So we just got to keep that dialogue going. We have to keep communication going, no matter what.
I wish we could keep this communication going for hours and hours. I wish we had a daily television show that I could watch. Watch you guys
Tichina 2020.
Well, guess what? That might be your new gig. Like, spin off from this shit. Spin off from it. Because this is what we need. But look,
Tichina's
I gotta get a little piece of that.
So.
Give me a little piece of that. Give me a little piece of
She's gonna take her cut.
I feel like part Carol Burnett variety show, part advice hour.
Yes,
you know,
there you go. Nobody's ever done that. Yes, there you go.
Yeah, you can't do it by yourself. Motherhood taught me that, and that's another thing that advice that I would give to other people is that, you know, I got to give advice to people who are not mothers. Beth is not a mother yet, but when she does, I want to fill her brain with all of those little things that when she is a mother, she can tap into and like, you know, this is different. But Tichina did say that I did that. I asked questions when I was pregnant. And I realized after my daughter was here, I was like, whoa, I can't do this shit by myself. What the hell? Motherhood is the most humbling experience you'll ever encounter, because it's out of your hands. It's out of your hands. You can only do what you can do. So I appreciate you, Ms. Stewart, for having us. Honestly, I'm gonna get back to this.
You're amazing.
I'm gonna get back to
you are
this.
truly wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. It takes visions.
Thank you. Thank you, Tichina. Thank you, Beth. Thank you to the audience. I want to let our viewers know about the next time's virtual event. It's a recap of the Democratic Convention with some of our politics reporters and editors. That's tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern, and you visit NewYorkTimes.com. We'll put the exact link in the chat for everyone. And thank you to the subscribers to the New York Times who make everything possible.
Subscribe.
And this has been wonderful. And I hope you guys stay safe and stay sane.
Thank you. You
we'll
too.
Try.
Thank
we'll
you.
Try.
We got each other, ladies. We're gonna
we got each other.
And we're gonna
we
vote.
losing a product.
Everybody listening, we're all gonna vote.
God.
Yes.
Oh my God.
That's advice number one.
Yes. Thank you, Beth. No, honestly.
Just wanted to throw that in at
vote.
the end.
Please vote, but we got to be careful voting because I'm going to vote. I didn't fill out for my absentee ballot. I like being the first person in my voting line every year. I do
She
it.
always
It's
is.
my
That's
my
thing.
own personal thing. Let's do that, but let's be safe. Let's stay distanced from each other. And if you you're gonna be in a long line. Have somebody come stand in your line so you can go pee when it's time to go pee, but don't leave that line because you got to go to the bathroom. We have to be patient. We have to be patient, but let's do it. Let's be impatient safely. You know, let's just be safe. Don't get COVID, please. Don't. Oh my God.
Yes.
I'm a germaphobe. I'm like, oh my God. I'm thinking about who I got to stand in line with. I'm like, oh my God, who do I have to stand in line with to vote? Jesus Christ. Woo!
This has been the perfect chat. Thank you so much.
You're the best.